So, as the title of this video suggests, this is my 1 year review of Mortal Kombat 11, and I wanted to do this review now because I wanted to give the game a chance to grow, and I think a year is enough time to really see what you truly think of a game, because we go through the honeymoon period of games, and we often think they're really good and then come to hate them, or we can think they're really bad and think, actually, I was wrong about this game, it's actually quite good. So I'm going to go over my review of Mortal Kombat 11. I'm not just going to cover gameplay, I'm going to cover everything about the game. I think I've listed everything possible, so I'm going to try. We're going to do this in an ups and downs style. If you watch What Culture Wrestling, they do an ups and downs series, so I'm going to do it in an ups and downs style. So we'll start at the top. I've got some Tekken footage in the background for you guys to watch. I'm playing the legendary Lion-O. Most of you probably remember him if you're in the UK Tekken scene, or if you've ever, he was a very big player. He's still capable of beating a lot of the best players in the UK. So you've got that footage to watch whilst I'm talking about this. So the first one I want to talk about is the user interface, the aesthetics of it, how it looks. I'm going to have to give this a down. I think it's quite boring looking. And again, we're going to be going over everything, even the little things. I'm going to get to the gameplay, I'm going to get to everything. So just bear with me. But I'm giving this one a down. The reason I'm giving it a down is that it's just quite boring, it's quite bland. For the 11th canonical installment of Mortal Kombat, I'd expect more. It's not a big deal, it's not something that would turn me off the game. But as I said, I'm reviewing everything about the game. I find it quite boring and bland, so it gets a down. The next thing I want to go over, I want to jump straight into the graphics. Now the graphics of Mortal Kombat 11 are going to get an up. Say what you want about the game, Mortal Kombat 11 is quite possibly the best looking fighting game on the market right now. The way the blood splatter works, the way fatalities work, even NRS got a lot of criticism for how their faces looked in the first Injustice game, and even other Mortal Kombat games. We all remember MK9 and how funny Sonya's jawline looked. Basically, MK11 really cleaned it up. I mean, they cleaned up their act with Injustice 2, but MK11 really took it to the next level in terms of graphics, how stages look, in the story mode, how they look in a fight. MK11 for me sits as the best looking fighting game on the market right now. I have a personal bias to cel shading, so Ninja Storm and Budokai 3 and all that are always going to be my all-time favorites. But as it stands with the modern fighters, I think MK11 looks better than Tekken, it looks better than Street Fighter, it looks better than KOF, it looks better than Samurai Showdown, Soul Calibur. So MK11 gets an up for that. Next I want to talk about the story mode. Story mode is going to get an up. I know the story mode got a lot of criticism. I personally enjoyed it. I do think it tripped over itself here and there. The one thing that would make me want to give it a down is the ending. Now I'm not going to spoiler it. It's been a year, so if you haven't played it by now, then that's on you if you've been spoiled. I won't say anything about it. I just find, actually, do you know what, screw it, you've been given your spoiler warning. The ending of Mortal Kombat 11 is really weird to me. It's like they've done another reset. MK9 was a reset in itself. They've reset it again. Liu Kang becomes the fire god, supreme champion, elder god. I don't even know what the hell he was. He was like higher than Kronika at the end of it. And depending on what ending you got, Kitana joined him. Raiden became just Raiden, not Lord Raiden anymore, and Liu Kang was there to shape the multiverse as he sees fit. I thought it was a bit shit, they kind of just ended everything. I thought the reboot in MK9 was good, because what they did, they had, I think it was the Kamidogu, the thing Quan Chi was carrying around. Raiden used it to go back in time and rewrite things. So Armageddon was MK9 was a continuation of Armageddon, which was fine. I thought that was a really interesting way to reboot a franchise. I thought it was really cool. Don't like the way they did it in MK11. Other than that, the story mode was really cool. Again, there's things here and there I didn't like about it, but they really did put a lot of effort into that, so I'm going to give it an up. Then we've got the Classic Tower. The Classic Tower is going to get a down from me, and this is not exclusive to Mortal Kombat. I feel like most fighting games, as a matter of fact, the big three, Mortal Kombat, Tekken and Street Fighter, have all done this. Their arcade modes suck. They are very short. We don't really get cutscenes anymore. Just like it's bland. They're very bland. All of them are bland. Tekken probably has the worst one. I think Mortal Kombat might have Mortal Kombat out of those three has the best one. It still sucks, so it's going to get it down. I think they need to put more effort into arcade mode. Arcade mode back in the day used to be so much fun, and just because you've got a really cool story mode doesn't mean you should shun arcade mode. Arcade mode should have a bit more love put into it, and I personally think they could have done a better job, especially because NRS is all about the cinematic stuff and whatnot. It could have been better. Then you've got the Towers of Time. Now this might be a bit controversial for some people. I do not like the Towers of Time. I don't like the general grind fest in Mortal Kombat, and I don't like the ridiculous requirements for getting certain things. I just don't like it. Like, I don't think it's hard. I think it's very time consuming and it's not fun. I don't find it fun at all. You know, I know it's asking for a lot, but Towers of Time mode should just be converted into something else. It's just painful. I mean, yeah, we can get loads of gear from it. It's a good way to like practice, I suppose. I mean, I practice new characters in there before I take them online, but overall it's just a bit bleh, so it's gonna get down. The Crypt, I'm gonna give the Crypt an up, although I do have some negative things to say about it. Now the Crypt, I'm giving it an up because I think they're onto something there. If they were gonna make an adventure game, I feel like the Crypt is a great foundation. Obviously you would need to expand heavily on it because it would be very boring if they just went with what they did exclusively in the Crypt, but it was really cool. When I started, I was like, wow, this is a whole like adventure mode sort of thing. That's what it looks like. It kind of reminded me of God of War. What I don't like about the Crypt is you've all done the severed heads, the 25, you have to kill people 25 times. It was originally 50 times, which was ridiculous. 25 is still, it's too much. It's too much. Like, it's just irritating, really. 10 would have been good, to be honest with you. I don't like grind fests. I don't like it at all. So that section really like brought it down for me. But other than that, literally other than that, I thought the Crypt looked awesome. I like the design. To be honest with you, if they did an update where they expanded on the Crypt, I would just go in there just to look around. It's really cool. There's a lot of cool lore in Mortal Kombat. So I would like them to continue doing that. The whole Shang Tsung's island, Shang Tsung introducing you getting different weapons like Shao Kahn's hammer, and even the jump scares. You know, I appreciate all of that effort that NRS put into it. I thought that was really cool. The local play, there's not really too much to say about it. It's just standard local play, so I suppose it gets an up. You might be wondering why I am putting it on there. There's a recent trend in video games where local support is not really there. Like, I mean, it doesn't really apply to fighting games too much. I imagine it will with the way things are going, but some games don't support local play anymore, and I find that really weird. We'll give local play an up just because it's nice to have it there. It's nice to know if I'm sitting down with a friend I don't need to be online, because I have a fear that all games are going to be exclusively online. Speaking of being exclusively online, this game does suffer from one thing. You do have to be online to sort of have your skins on basically anything you've unlocked. You have to be online. If you're not online, I've had issues where the data has become funny and my combat card has reset. I think that having to be online to access anything other than fighting online is stupid. That gets it down. I don't know why that's in there. It's really frustrating. A lot of video games are doing it. It's not just Mortal Kombat, but it's going to get it down nonetheless. Tournament mode is going to get it down because tournament mode forces me to pick other costumes. If you pick a character in tournament mode, it will auto generate a costume for you. That's really irritating because tournament mode is the mode that we use in tournaments, and I just find it a bit odd. It's just a bit weird. I don't know, like, you're obviously not going to spend too much time when you're at a local tournament doing it, so on one hand you could say, yeah, it's kind of cool they just auto generate custom costumes for you, but at the same time you might be a fan of the original costume and it just gets annoying. I feel like this could have been handled better. I don't have a suggestion for it, but I am going to give it a down because it's just kind of weird. AI battle is getting a straight down. It's one of the most boring modes. I dislike it heavily. I don't have much to say about it other than it sucks, so that's just getting it down. And one other thing I want to bring up, MK11 has a lack of mini games, and I'm going to give it a down for that because I feel like NRS knows how popular Mario Combat, or what was it called, the combat racing thing, or my personal favorite is Chess Combat. Those were great additions to the game. Like, honestly, I spent a lot of time with my friend just playing Chess Combat. I thought, yo, Chess Combat, forget the other ones. If they added Chess Combat, I'd be down for that. I'd pay a solid £10 if they worked and added it on. I'm being dead serious. Like, I really thought that was a good addition. Was it? It was Deception, I think. Was it Deception or Armageddon? It was one of them that had Chess Combat. It was great. I think it was Deception. This is a minor thing, but I'm gonna give the combat card an up just because it shows all of your stats. I think that's cool. I love looking at stats. I like to see where I'm going wrong and going right. You get to view a certain amount of replays. So the combat card gets an up. It's nice. It's a nice extensive piece of information. It's nice to know that your progress is being tracked. I have seen some hiccups with it where it doesn't record matches properly, or it will erase replays of matches you've just had. So that's kind of weird. But overall, the idea behind the combat card is really cool, and I wish other fighting games had something similar to that. The combat store gets an up as well. It's always changing. It generates a new pack of skins or brutalities or fatalities, and I just think that's cool. So it's going to get an up. You know, you can use time crystals to buy them, so it's pretty cool. But speaking of brutalities, this is where it's going to get a down. The brutality requirements in this game are trash. We shouldn't have to jump through a billion loopholes to get a brutality. I'm just going to give you one example. The uppercut brutality is where you knock someone's head off. The requirement is to not block the entire match. I don't know what psychopath is not going to block in a Mortal Kombat match. I have got that brutality once. I'm not saying that I'm a psychopath, but I've only ever got it once, and I've played this game for definitely more than 200 hours. Way more than 200 hours. I know that's sad, don't judge me. But again, that's why I feel like I can give this review. I've really played the shit out of this game, and I've reached the end of my road of it for now. But yeah, so brutalities are getting it down. Change the requirements, make them easier for us to access. Some of them look really cool. I don't think they're as cool as MKX's ones so far. Also, MKX had stage brutalities. I hope they add those in one day. It should have been something they started with because it's a very old gimmick in Mortal Kombat, but I digress. Brutalities are getting it down for now. So I want to move on to the online section of the game, and there's quite a bit to say about the online section of the game. So in terms of connectivity, this gets an up. The way Mortal Kombat works online compared to, again, I'm going to compare it to Tekken and Street Fighter because I feel like those are its main rivals. Mortal Kombat is better than both of them, hands down better than both of them, with Street Fighter being the absolute worst. Mortal Kombat Online functions really well, so it's going to get an up. However, I'm going to give it a down because the community, and I know that the community can talk out of their ass sometimes, believe me, I've been on Twitter following this Mitsu Owens controversy. You know, I know what the community's like, so I understand when NRS doesn't want to listen to them. However, one of the things that the community's been asking for is a Wi-Fi filter, and NRS has not responded to this at all. Wi-Fi players bring this game down, they bring it right down, and if you are one of the people that is stuck on Wi-Fi and you really want to play the game, I understand that, I get that. But we should be able to filter you out. It is really frustrating when we get a Wi-Fi player and they're a Scorpion player and then they are literally teleporting at every moment. It's really irritating, and I don't understand why NRS has not given us a Wi-Fi filter. It seems like a very basic implementation, I'm assuming anyway. I don't know why they've kind of just ignored it. I've seen that request as one of the earliest requests of this game. It would be nice. It would be lovely if they could give us a Wi-Fi filter. Not to say that everyone on Ethernet has got a perfect connection, because they really don't. They can be irritating as well, but the Wi-Fi players they're in a different league of their own. So yeah, that gets a down. The ranked in general is going to get a down. The reason I say that is that Combat League is seasonal. So when Combat League is not there, it's really boring. There's no real incentive. I don't really like how the points and win system works. It doesn't even seem like a system when Combat League's not there. So it gets a down. It feels like Mortal Kombat goes through a boring period, and I don't really understand the logic behind this. It's really irritating actually. It's one of the more irritating things about the game. But we'll move on to Combat League. I'm going to give Combat League an up, but I'm also going to give it a down. The reason that I am giving actually I'm going to give Combat League 2 downs and 1 up. I'm giving an up because the idea of the Combat League going through different tiers to reach Elder God is really cool. I do like that. I actually think it handles the points distribution a bit better than other fighting games. It's not great, it's not perfect. By no means is it perfect. Sometimes you can get an opponent. What you get actually a lot of is you get a lot of good players waiting, and they start in the lower ranks, and then they will start going through like 15 days in and getting about 150 points per win, which, you know, is fine. Like I'm of the mindset that if you lose points, you lost points. It doesn't really matter how much it is. It is frustrating, don't get me wrong. I wish the point distribution would be better, but I know I get salty at Mortal Kombat, but in general I just take losing on the chin. I rage more at this game just because I think the way the mechanics work is just ridiculous. So I'm gonna give it an up for the implementation of a Combat League. I'm giving it a down because one of the things that irritates me the most is that it resets. I have no idea why this mode resets. It resets every season. All the points you worked for, gone. It's weird. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I feel like, you know, in Tekken, like I recently got to a Fujin rank, got demoted because, you know, I got my ass kicked. However, unless I'm getting my ass kicked, I don't feel like I should lose points over time, which is the other thing that's getting it down for, or have my points reset. I don't like it. Don't like that implementation at all. I understand some people might like it. I'm not for it. So losing points because you haven't played the game, it sucks. I literally turned it on just to look over some of the modes for this review. I'd lost points. I've been knocked from almost being a demigod right quite far down because I stopped playing the game. And I don't like the fact that each season is a reset. It's kind of lame, especially considering the skins in this game kind of suck. And that's basically what you're playing for, skins and add-ons and time crystals, and it's not worth it. It's a drag. I don't like it. I wish they would redesign it. They're probably not going to, but I'm not into it. King of the Hill will get an up. It's just King of the Hill, you know. It's a player match basically. It's kind of cool. Theater mode is cool. It's been there since MK9, so it'll get an up. Casual mode as well gets an up. You can use customs in casual mode, which is nice. So yeah, that gets an up. That's fine. There's not really too much to talk about those two. No ranked in customs. Now, this is a big problem for me, and I'm going to talk about customs a bit later on as well. However, NRS made a game with customs in it, so you can customize your own version of whatever, any character you want. And they said they don't want people to do that in tournament because it's going to be too broken. Fine, I understand. The game's already a mess as it is. You don't want it to become more messy. That's fine. That's cool. No problem. What do? You release trailers of these characters looking wicked. Like, I remember the Shang Tsung trailer. I was like, wow, he looks cool. There's a lot you can do with him. You can just throw shit together. I was like, cool. That's fine. They don't want it in tournament. I heard about that before the game came out. I was prepared for that. Cool. No problem. I'm thinking to myself, they're going to make a ranked version. They're going to make a ranked version of customs. So people that want to play with that broken stuff, they can go there. They didn't do that. Customs got completely alienated. You can use customs if you want to play casual matches for no points, no scoring, no leaderboard really, or you can play offline with your friends. That is a hard down on NRS. I can't understand the logic behind that. I can't. It seems like such a simple implementation. I don't get it. So that is getting it down. That for me almost brings down the entire online. However, I'm not going to be that deep. Next thing I want to talk about is the customizable gear in the game. That is getting a hard down, and the reason it's getting it down is because we all saw Injustice 2. Now say what you want about Injustice 2. Injustice 2 had some wicked gear. The skins in Injustice were awesome. Like literally, skins in Injustice 2, NRS should pat themselves on the back for that stuff. That was wicked. Skins and the gear in Mortal Kombat 11, they literally couldn't have put less effort into them. Some of them are literally the same thing with just like an extra dot or an extra line or a different color. It sucks. So it's getting a down for that. The customizable section of the gear in Mortal Kombat is trash. The customizable moves, which I just talked about, the online, it's getting an up and a down. It's getting an up because yes, when you do use a custom character, the game is way more fun. Way more fun. And I know after a bit, you'd probably get frustrated because there's some really broken stuff. But they put it behind a wall, so it's also getting a down. It gets an up and it gets a down. It's getting a down because they put it behind a wall. You advertise the game with customs and then you basically told the competitive community you can't use them. I mean, you can use them, but you won't be ranked for it. You won't be able to use them in tournament. All the time you spend making setups and whatnot with your custom character, you can't bring that to our tournaments. You can't bring it to the Pro Tour. You can't bring it on ranked. So basically, you can't use them. That's basically the message. And I don't like devs making decisions for me like that. I think it's silly. So it's getting it down. So the learn section of this game, I'm gonna give it an up. The practice mode is what you'd expect. It's decent, nothing to really write home about, so I won't give it a down. But it's also got a tutorial mode, which the tutorial mode is pretty good actually. It does teach you a lot about the game. It has got some challenging tutorials for newcomers, and there's also a fatality training, so that's all good. There's no issues with that, it gets an up. Now then, let's move on to the music. The music in MK11 sucks. There's two things with the soundtrack in MK11. One is that MK9 and older MK games, some from the 3D era, some from the previous 2D era, they were really good. Like old school Mortal Kombat music, including MK9, was sick. The music in this game is trash. It's trash. I don't understand MK and the recent music. Now, even in MK9, it had some amazing soundtracks that never made it on the game, like Reptile's theme by Skrillex. I don't understand what's going on with their music. The music in MK11 sucks so much that I actually muted the music on the game, and I usually replace it with other music from other games like Dynasty Warriors, Tekken, Street Fighter, whatever, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, whatever. I always replace the music. It sucks. It's not good. They really need to step it up. And also, if you upload videos to YouTube from Mortal Kombat, you can get copyright strike from Warner Brothers. And what's that guy's name that played Sub-Zero in the game, the DJ? That guy, his company, he'll sue you. Not sue you, so give you a copyright strike if or a copyright claim or something like that if you upload the music. Dimitri Vegas, that's it. Oh my god, that is another thing. They're getting it down for that as well. Down for putting Dimitri Vegas in the game. Oh my lord. So music's getting it down, Dimitri Vegas is getting it down. The roster, now this was hard for me, but the roster's going to get an up. And the reason I say that is that it has let us down with Reptile, Mac, Smoke, yes, 100%, Rain, Havoc, you know. So they added characters in here that honestly I don't believe anyone asked for. And you know, I understand NRS does what NRS wants to do. However, I mean, what was Kenshi's son's name that became Scorpion Student? Began with T. You guys know who I'm talking about from MK10. He was actually a really cool character. Really, and there was so much you could have done with him. Imagine the son of Kenshi trained by Scorpion. Now imagine what you could have done with it. And who'd you put in the game instead? Jackie. Who the hell asked for Jackie Briggs? Who asked for Cassie Cage? We don't like these characters. We don't like them. Cassie Cage and Jackie Briggs being in over the guy from MKX, the Scorpion student, Kenshi's kid. I can't remember his name for the life of me. And Reptile, Ermac, Rain. You know, these iconic characters. Like, I don't understand why you would put Jackie and Cassie. No one likes them. No one likes these characters. Hell, you can get rid of Sonya, mate. You can get rid of Sonya and most of the community would be happy. I know, like, listen, I've seen the Melina guys. I've seen them, they're idiots. So if you're a Melina fan watching this video, you surely can't endorse the things that those guys do. It's atrocious, really, the things that they do and the things they say to Ed Boon. Even on, I remember someone passed away, I can't remember who it was, or something tragic happened and they were asking for Melina. I'm like, come on guys. However, I don't get why Melina's not in the game. She's so popular, I don't give a damn about the story, man. She doesn't have to be in the story, just make her a playable character. I mean, I'm not particularly advocating for Mileena to be in. I'm just saying that Mortal Kombat has so many iconic characters. This roster could have been a hell of a lot better, but this roster is not bad. It's not a bad roster by any means, I'm not saying that. It is good. The guest characters are really cool. Kind of disappointed that we didn't get Arnie's actual voice, but the guest characters in Mortal Kombat are wicked. And wicked is in wicked additions to the game. They are not particularly fun to fight against. Actually, I think Spawn is probably one of the better designed ones. He seems a bit more fair than Arnie and Joker. But it is what it is. I don't think the roster's trash. It's going to get an up from me, but that comes with an asterisk. It can be a lot better. They could have done much more with the roster. And now I'm going to move on to the gameplay. So the first thing that I want to talk about, there's 3 points here. The first thing I want to talk about is the general pacing of the game. Now, I've been vocal in saying that I do not like the pace of MKX. I think MKX is Mortal Kombat on crack. It's insane. Like, I can't believe I used to block some of those mix-ups. I do not like the pace in MKX. MKX is very close to an anime game. It is an anime game with all the offensive mechanics and no defensive mechanics. But the pacing in MK11 is going to get an up. I do like the pacing of this game. I like the way it feels almost. It's still a bit clunky. It still feels like Mortal Kombat. However, it does feel better. It's a step in the right direction, so it's going to get an up. The mechanics are going to give it a down. The mechanics of this game, I have to say, they are some of the most trash mechanics I've ever seen in a fighting game. Crushing blows are unfairly distributed around the roster. Breakaway is a poor man's breaker, and it sucks. The way fireballs function in this game, trash. Throws, trash. It's just, the mechanics in this game are some of the worst that I've seen in any fighting game. Now, I have been very critical of Mortal Kombat since it returned. I am one of the very few people that wanted it to be a 3D game. And I say that because, obviously, I am a Tekken guy at heart. I know most of my channels have got Mortal Kombat, but I do play a lot of Tekken. Obviously, I'm getting my ass whooped in these videos that you're watching here. But I'm just getting back into it, and I'm playing one of the best players ever in the UK. So I'm not doing too badly, but I digress. I'm a Tekken guy. So yes, the 3D Mortal Kombat, particularly Deadly Alliance, are my favourite. Deadly Alliance, Deception, Armageddon, those are my favourite ones. But since Mortal Kombat returned, I've been very critical about it. I do not like the mechanics that they add into these games, and MK11 has to be the worst. And it is even more irritating because this is their third attempt at the new era of Mortal Kombat. And for me, NRS has got it wrong. I feel like Mortal Kombat 11's mechanics are a masher's paradise. They are literally a masher's paradise. This has to be, the mechanics of this game they encourage ridiculous and brain dead gameplay. Now you might be thinking, well, you played MKX, it had built-in mix-ups. That's true, they watered them down in MK11. I do appreciate that. However, it doesn't matter if you water them down if you still have two extremely brain dead mix-ups with very little risk. It's still an issue. It doesn't change the issue. So I feel like the mechanics of this game are, ultimately what has ruined it for me. So it's getting a down. The character balancing is going to get an up and a down. Now, I think they majority of the time, overall, they've handled the way characters play in this game poorly. I feel like, again, I've spoken about it in my previous videos. I don't know why there's so many launchers that are safe in this game. I don't know why some characters are designed the way they are and others are left in the dirt. I don't get that. But they did spread the bullshit of the characters across the roster. So everyone is kind of viable. Even Shao Kahn, he is viable. I feel like he's gonna work a hell of a lot harder to win a tournament. A hell of a lot harder. However, as you guys have seen, I've said it before, Video Games Yo has an amazing Shao Kahn, and I feel like he plays Shao Kahn how Shao Kahn has to be played. Not should be played, has to be played to win. And I feel like Shao Kahn is the worst character in the game. But when I say worst, I still think he's viable. And so I feel like NRS did do a good job of making every character viable. It gives everyone a fighting chance. How they made them viable is the problem. How they have designed these characters is a problem. It's going to get a down because of that, but I will give it the up because everyone can be played. You do see every character. I mean, don't get me wrong, you see way more Sonyas, way more Cetrions, way more Johnnies. For obvious reasons, we know why people are picking those characters. However, you do still see your Scarlets, your Scorpions, your Shao Kahns, Terminator, Kano. You see those characters, Baraka, whatever. I myself, I'm a Baraka Noob Cybot player. Or was anyway, I'm not playing it anymore for now. So it gets an up and down there. Now the last thing I want to talk about for this game is the support. Now yes, NRS they've missed the mark with certain things with this game, 100%. I feel like they do things on purpose to piss off the community. I do believe that. I haven't got any proof whatsoever, I could be wrong, but that's my gut feeling. I feel like there's very, very basic things that they overlook, and they just basically tell people to kiss their ass, you know, in nicer words, I suppose. I've watched their combat cast, and when people bring up issues or whatever, like I remember there was a down 2 discussion, and 16-bit said something like, well, they're supposed to be strong, blah blah blah, but I wasn't really answering the issue, but whatever. However, they have supported this game. They have released things on time. There's been several balance changes. I don't like the balance changes that they've done. I feel like they again misunderstood. However, they are there. There's a lot of developers that just sort of just leave the game in the dirt. You don't hear anything for ages. NRS is easier to communicate with than other developers, so I will give them props for that. However, what they do with those communications is where the problem may be. They have provided a decent amount of characters, interesting characters, at least from a personality standpoint, and they are doing a Combat Pack 2. And with Combat Pack 2, we're going to get a whole host of new characters, new guest characters. We know Ash Williams is going to be one. I heard Robocop has been leaked, I don't know for sure. So they're going to get up. So overall, with all that being said, I think I've given it more downs than ups. Yeah, so without a doubt, I've given it more downs than ups. So overall, my first year of Mortal Kombat has not been positive. It's not been completely negative. I still hold out some hope for this game, although I'm leaning more to this game is doomed. But 1 year I feel like is a long enough time to review a fighting game and what you think of it. So overall, it's getting it down. It's a disappointing, frustrating experience from NRS this time around, but I don't want them to fail. I'm not here for NRS to fail. I know a majority of my videos is me insulting the game. I'm frustrated with it. I'm a Mortal Kombat fan. I grew up on Mortal Kombat. I'm 27 years old, almost. I'm going to be 28 in 20 days. I expect better from NRS. They've tried their hand at it a lot. I feel like the best they got at a competent fighting game was MK Deadly Alliance. Now don't get me wrong, that game has issues, 100% has issues, but for me it was the most fun. So that's my year in review, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I feel like I covered everything, even the little things. And we'll see what happens in the future. We'll wait for Combat Pack 2 to be announced, and if there's going to be any gameplay changes, because there's no good announcing loads of cool characters if the game still sucks. So I will catch you guys then. Take care. Peace.